your bets.
Hey guys, welcome to NRL round 6 tips. Here with me today I've got Nadim. He's actually a bookie, and Nadim, so I don't embarrass myself this round, Nadim's going to give his tips, but Nadim wants to explain himself first. He tips in a different way. I tip for tipping comps, as you all know by now, but Nadim tips for punters apparently. Is that the case?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a punter, so I like to have a bit of a flutter. The teams I bet on tend to be different teams that I take in tipping competitions for this simple reason. When you're tipping in a tipping competition, you want to maximise your points. When you're acting as a punter, you want to maximise profit. So you probably want to... Seb's got the right theory. Go with the favourites most weeks. Try to find a few valued outsiders. But I'll distinguish between the two.
So let's start with, do you want to start with the Roosters Bulldogs?
Certainly.
So who are you going with?
I'm going with the Bulldogs.
Why?
for this simple fact. They love a dogfight. So they absolutely love a dogfight. And if it's any team that hates a dogfight, sorry to use, pardon the cliche, by the way. If it's any team that hates a dogfight, it's the Roosters. They're a bunch of pretty boys. We all saw them on the footy show last night, sipping lattes and doing yoga. But the interesting thing is that the Roosters were coming off 3 very strong wins. And they came up against Canberra and they were leading in that game, I think it was 16-0 at one point.
Yeah.
And then they went down 24-22, which is devastating. It's often hard to bounce back from that. Dogs will be fired up. The big question is Tony Williams. My tip is he's going to get dropped soon. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's definitely getting dropped soon, and he certainly won't be playing 80 minutes. I ruled this as a 50-50 game. I thought it was flip of a coin, take your pick. For that reason, I'm betting on the Dogs, and I think they're huge value, and it determines whether I bread a lobster for the rest of the week.
Well, again, as Nadim mentioned, he tips for punters. My approach is try to keep with the team that the betting agencies are going with, which is generally the Roosters. I think they're favourites, and also I take into consideration injuries a lot, and Graham Inu's not injured but he's out, Graham's out, and Cassiano is still out. So with those 3 guys out, they're not going to be the team they were last year. So I would stick with the Roosters for now. Okay, let's move to Broncos versus Cowboys.
Sounds good. By the way, I have to add, you picked the greatest week for me to come in. So this is a tough week. This seriously is a tough week.
It is pretty hard.
Okay, well, you got to love this game, Brisbane, North Queensland. It's a real derby, as they say. Both teams are coming up, have had some impressive victories. In the first 2 rounds, I completely wrote off the Broncos for this simple. I didn't write them off for any other reason but fitness. I thought their fitness was just so poor.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
And but they're starting to find their fitness. It's come back. They're dealing with it. So they got match fitness under their belt now. Close game, tight one. I don't think opposition's going to give much away. I'm going with Broncos.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're
So
going
we're going to differ on 2 games already.
Brilliant. We'll get 8 out of 8 between the two of us, by the way.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go with the Cowboys purely because I think
Broncos are favourites.
Huh?
Broncos are
This
favourites.
is my upset of the week.
Oh,
I should mention this. This is my upset of the week. So, no, I think the Cowboys should win this one. It is tough because, as you said, the Broncos have been in hot form. The last 120 minutes of football have been sensational from the Bronx, and also they're playing at home. But they've actually lost, I think, their 2 games at home this year. So home form doesn't mean much for the Broncos this season, thus far. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. They're coming off the back of a massive win against the Panthers, who are terrible, as everyone knows, but they'll have a lot of confidence. I think they've got a really good record against the Broncos in recent seasons, so I'm going to stick with the Cowboys for this one. We realise we've got to hurry up, so we're going to move to Saturday now, Knights versus Panthers. And then who are you going with?
No decision. Panthers can't defend, struggle to score, hopeless away from home. Newcastle by 22.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with the Knights as well. Believe it or not, you can't go past them in this game. The Panthers are terrible. I thought they would bring back Luke Walsh, who was playing halfback. He's a bit enigmatic, and but I think Ivan Cleary needs to bring him back for the Panthers to have any chance. But he hasn't brought them back. Him back. So I'm going to go with the Knights as well. Raiders versus Warriors.
Raiders versus Warriors. This is a tough game. This is a tough game for the simple fact that both teams are just so unreliable. Canberra coming off a huge win. Interesting fact, Canberra's only won 9 of 20 when they've been favourites. For this point of view, I'm back in New Zealand for something small. But I'll be in a tipping competition. I'll probably take Canberra.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Canberra. Terry Campese's back, which is great news for the Raiders. He's on the bench this week, but that will lift the boys in general, I think, and also they'll have taken a lot from that win over the Roosters. They had to fight hard for that win, and I think they'll be cocky, very cocky. Hopefully that won't stab them in the back. And the Warriors really struggle to win in Canberra, so I'm going to go with the Raiders. Okay, Souths versus Storm.
Wow, what a game.
I know, this is hectic.
They're all going to be talking about, Bulldogs, Sonny Bill Williams and that, but for me, this is the game of the round.
Yeah.
Undefeated both teams, so it's going to obviously end for one team. Big three. That's all there is to it. Melbourne. Can't believe they're 2-10. There was a bit of talk Slater would be out during the week. He's in. Go mortgage the house. Put everything on Melbourne.
I think you can't go past the big three, as Nadim mentioned, like Slater, Cronk, Smith. They are incredible. Working together, they're a highly structured team. Under pressure, they're amazing. I mean, they always do well in the big games. So, other than that loss to Manly a few years ago in the grand final, but generally they do very well in the big games. So stick with the Storm for this one, boys.
Tipping an outsider.
Huh?
South
it is a slight, yeah, I guess, but the margin is very small. But okay, I think we're on to Sunday now. Is that right? Yep. So Manly at home to the Sharks.
No brainer. Manly defence plus no Carney equals Sharks 0 points.
Yeah, that's it.
Manly by 30.
Yeah.
Manly by 30.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big call.
Bold statement. Bold statement.
Yeah, I mean, I think without Carney, the Sharks are rudderless, and Brookvale is also a big factor for Manly. They always do pretty well at Brookie, so stick with Manly for that one. Tigers up against the Dragons.
I'm not so confident about this. The only guarantee in this match is we'll see Jamie Sauer hit a field goal just before halftime.
Jamie Sauer. Now, he's actually really improved.
He has. I think the key with him is confidence. Really confidence. When he's got the best kicking game in the competition. When he brings his A game. St George just over the line.
Yeah,
but
I think.
I'm St George for tipping, staying away from punting.
Okay, 4 words from me. No Benji. Toothless Tiger. That's it. So go with the Dragons. Okay, Monday night, I believe. Titans versus the Eels. I'm an Eels supporter, as you should know by now. But Nadim, who are you going with?
So you're tipping Eels? I want to hear your tip in this one first.
I would go with the Eels, except that they have rarely strung back-to-back victories together in the last few years. So, and they're playing up on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Titans. It's a safe bet.
Titans, I think an important thing. Titans are 5 for 3 against the Eels, and that includes 4 for 1 up at the Gold Coast. Titans just to get over the line.
Awesome. So hopefully we haven't bored you too much. That's it for round 6. Nadim will be back, I'm sure.
That's it. That's as long as I don't tip 0 out of 8.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was probably the only round where you could get 0 out of 8, and Nadim came, so he's going to save my ass. So, all right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Cheers.
I've never been a gambling man.